All right, man. It's Saturday, November 9th. And you and I have been having some great conversations with the community about how we come out of this election. And this podcast, if you're going to let me, we're going to show our map. All right. And we want to go quick across the map, like a blizzard of winds, because my mind is
A blizzard.
a
All
blizzard.
right.
My mind is shifting to how we actually might be winning in a larger sense. Okay.
Okay,
So,
so explain this because this is people, what are we? 3 days, 4 days out from Tuesday. How are we winning? What is this new theory that we're winning?
well, it's a historical grounded notion that recognizes tectonic shifts that have occurred in the United States and globally. And those are around increasingly diverse people coming to power, the rise of the internet, and mobile technologies. All right. All of those dimensions are tectonically transformative, and they produce a response by people in power that is what we can often call a backlash.
Mhm.
And so the rise of Trump was rightfully understood as part of that backlash in 2016. To think that he won again in 2024 might say, no, wait, we're losing. But I think actually we've done an incredible job over the last 8 years of mitigating the damage.
Okay.
Okay.
So what you're saying is that and this is a part of the conversation we've been having about the the macro effects globally of COVID. And what you're saying is we've mitigated the effects that all Western democracies have felt since the COVID shutdowns, and everybody's economies were flattened, and inflation took over, um, and also the rise of Trumpism.
I would put it earlier than COVID. COVID is in the mix. All right.
Okay.
But I would put it to the response of Obama winning the presidency in 2008, because you put the Tea Party as the first wave of that backlash, right?
Okay.
So from basically 2008 forward, we've been doing what we have to do. Well, we haven't been doing this until 2016 and 17, okay? But from
Okay.
2008 forward, I think we can understand where Common Power fits from 2017 forward as actually making enormous progress against that backlash. All right. We've won election after election after election. We can't win every election. We can't, right? You know
Right.
that. That's what
Yep.
you so we when we lose though, are there still these glimmers of success and hope and possibility that aren't just like, oh, like made up, kind of just looking for things. But in this election, we're actually going to hold Senate seats in multiple states that Trump won.
Right.
And in 2016 and 2020, there was only one senator in those two elections who won election, even though their state voted differently. Okay, only one, Susan
Who was
Collins in
that?
2020,
Oh, that's
Susan
right.
Collins.
In Maine.
Okay,
Yep.
in
Yep.
this election, we've got Alyssa Slotkin is one in Michigan, even though they voted for Trump. Tammy Baldwin is one in Wisconsin, even though they voted for Trump. Jackie Rosen has won
Yeah.
in Nevada, even though they voted for Trump. And Ruben Gallego is almost certainly going to win in Arizona. That's four right there.
Yeah.
So let's say we lose all four of those, because those are all really close, and those are all states we worked in.
Yep. A ton.
Right? A ton. And you got some numbers on this.
Yeah.
Let's say we don't knock doors in those states. Let's say we don't.
Right. Right.
They lose. They fucking lose. And now you're looking at 43 seats in the Senate instead of 47. All right?
Right. And no way that we can convince some of their senators to come our way or not vote for something or whatever. Right. Right. Right.
You
Whereas
look at
now
those
there's a
four,
possibility.
right? You look at those four, and Bob Casey's on the cusp in Pennsylvania as a possible fifth. All right.
Is he really right now?
No, he's losing, but there's still 110,000 votes to be counted in the state. All right.
Okay. All right. All
So
right.
he's probably going to lose, but he's on the cusp. All
Sure.
right.
Sure.
So that's 4 or 5 senators.
What you're saying is that he wouldn't even had a shot had we not gone there.
He wouldn't had a shot. And so I don't want to, I'm not in any way, shape, or form seeking to dismiss the damage and the pain that is manifest and real during this entire Trump era and will be coming in the next 4 years. All right.
Yeah.
For people of color, for women, for all communities that are targeted, for migrants, it's enormously, it is. But it could have been, and I believe would have been way worse
Yeah.
had we not done this. And
I agree. I agree. And so what you're saying, what you're making the case for is the existence of common power. And then I would say more broadly, the pushes of groups like us to continue our work into the future.
it would be so short-sighted for us to say, oh, we lost the presidential race. Here's another piece of evidence on this, that if you look at the states where Harris ran her campaigns vigorously, which is the battleground states, versus the other 43 states in this country, seven
Yeah.
battleground states, the Republicans won when you look at the other 43 states in this country by 7 to 8%. Trump did. Okay. Trump won by 3% in the battleground states. All
Yeah.
right.
Every single one. Every single state where we pushed back, it was a significant margin decrease.
Exactly. So folks, yes, we lose. We do lose. But the reality is that we are actually making progress against the backlash that is present. And I would say like 20, and I've been thinking about this morning, January 6th, 2021. We thought like we survived the insurrection then. No, actually, that insurrection was the first part of the campaign for 2024. All
Mm,
right. That was the opening bell to the campaign for 2024. Is like, okay, you beat our guy. That's what they're saying. You beat
yeah.
our guy in 2021. This is the way we're coming. We're
Yeah.
coming like this. All right.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay. All right, let's dig in, man.
Okay. So I wanted to put up, well, this has come out of you and I, one of the things that we treasure about Common Power is the give and take in the conversation with members of our community, right? When they said like,
Yeah.
they
Oh
start
yeah.
to like, they ask questions, we're like, well, wait a second. So this,
Right.
this morning for this podcast is our map for where we have done some work in 2024. And it is not as pretty of a map as you
Can't
and
stand it.
others. Okay.
Cannot stand your map.
Well, that's the US
I'm
map right now.
feverishly, if people see me clicking around on my screen, I'm desperately trying to find oh my God. Did you just do a bouncing dots?
I did. Yeah, let's
Oh,
check it out
wow.
again. Let's check it out again.
Oh, no way. That is, I don't know what to say about that. That
Every dot is a state that we worked in. All right, this year.
okay. All
Okay,
right.
and I could just keep doing the bouncing and drive you nuts.
You could. I would just mysteriously leave the podcast taping.
It reminds me of last night because I was doing some of that self-care stuff last night, right? That
Was it PowerPoint? Is that what you're
no,
doing?
no. I watched a movie, that Clooney and Brad Pitt movie on
Oh,
Apple
I was gonna
TV.
watch that. Wolves?
Yes, Wolves. It's really funny, man. It's
Is it?
really
Okay, I
funny.
gotta watch it. I gotta
Yeah.
watch it.
And so there's a scene in there right at the end where they are going
Are you gonna
back and
give the movie away?
no, 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 where they're
Jeez
going
Louise.
back and forth very fast. Okay.
Okay.
And they're figuring something out. They're going back
Okay.
and when I watch movies with Lisa is able to process all of this and like gets it like this. And I'm the one that's like, wait a minute, I gotta stop. I gotta think about it. So, but
Are you the one who asks questions? You're like, wait,
yes,
are they?
yeah,
And then she's like, just watch. They're talking about it right now.
right. So yesterday though, it was going so fast that we had to stop for her. Okay.
Oh, okay. All right.
So she says, let's rewind it. You can hit the back and the back a little bit. And so we went
Mm-hmm.
back like 30 seconds and we watched it again. And I'm like, oh, I still don't have it. I still don't have it. And and so I hit the back and I went through it again. And so we watched it 3 times. And I'm like, one more time. And she turns to me like this and she like grabs me like this and she goes, if you send it back one more time, I am going to kill you, okay? Because she was going crazy. She can't stand this like this, like this, like
She's like, I
so
want to watch the movie.
exactly. So I could do that to you right now by just sending
No,
the dots in there like that,
no,
okay?
haven't I been through enough, David, over the last few?
Okay.
Okay,
So
let's go. Let's go.
what we're going to do is we're going to riff across here because we actually have something in every single state. That's what's really cool. So New York, we won in Swazi's race way back at the beginning of the year that you were there, but
That was
in
in
this
January in the snow.
in this
Yes,
in this election this fall, we flipped the 4th congressional district. That was where we worked, and you know what? We flipped that district by 8,000 votes. All right, eight
crazy.
thousand votes. So I don't know. Do you have any numbers on New York? How many doors we knocked in New York?
Yeah, 2,000 doors in New York total.
Okay, 2,000 doors. So we're literally like, if you're talking about votes, because there's always more votes than doors,
That's
right?
right. That's right. Every door is, I mean, like one door is two people kind of thing.
So we're not, of course, ever the only entity out there, but we're a part of that. Okay.
That's right.
And
Yep.
the US House is going to be really close right now. Pennsylvania.
And well, no, Swazi's victory was so important to the morale in the country. That was a huge win for us. That was early on, it was January. It was what's his name's district? See, now I forget his
George
name. George
Santos is,
Santos. Yeah.
yeah.
So that was like it was a blue state. It was a I mean, he basically tricked the people of that district to vote for him. And New York was embarrassed by being a blue state that helped to lose the House for us. Same with California. So they were ready to that was a little revenge.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
I'm looking up right now to see how much Swazi won because he had to run again this fall, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah,
What
yeah.
was his numbers? Because he had to hold the seat essentially. He had to hold it. And Santos had won it by 8 points in 2022. All right. Swazi won it by 3. All right.
Jeez.
So Swazi won it by 3 this fall. And New York as a state swung like 15 points towards Trump. Okay.
Crazy.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
So that's New
Next.
York. Next up, I'm going to get the map back up. But
Oh
Pennsylvania,
God.
Pennsylvania, man.
Can you pull it up without the animation?
No, it doesn't work that way.
Oh, really? It
So,
has to bounce every time? Okay,
oh
this
wait,
is a plan.
we'll see. Maybe I can do without the bounce. But why would you? All right.
You want to go Pennsylvania? Let's
Yeah.
go.
Okay. So we know Trump wins it, but
Yeah.
you know that the state house has been held by the Pennsylvania Dems by 1 seat. All right.
Yeah. Like 4 times last year.
Exactly. By 1 seat. And that is no small matter. There's 110,000 votes still in the state. Bob Casey might be able to eke that out. He's down by 35,000 votes right now. But if those votes are male and they're in Philly and so on and so on, he's got a shot. All
Yeah.
right.
Jeez. Okay.
So it's going to be really close. So in Pennsylvania, we got that. And earlier this year, we won a state Supreme Court race in
That's
Pennsylvania.
right.
Okay.
Huge. State Supreme Court races are those are the biggest deal when it comes to the way that people can vote in a state. Those are huge. They guard against voter suppression or they enable it.
Okay, Maryland. Well,
Wait, dude. Pennsylvania, we knocked on 38,000 doors in
really,
Pennsylvania.
38,000 doors. Wow.
38,000 doors. That was one of our biggest states. That's where I ended the campaign there with we had some of our biggest numbers of volunteers out there too.
And
So Bob Casey, if he wins out there, Bob Casey needs to send us a fruit basket, man.
yeah, and I want to, although this podcast is really about 2024, in the larger arc, we won in Pennsylvania in 2022 with John Fetterman as a
Yeah.
senator. And there's no way in the world the Democrats should have won in 2022 in that
Yeah.
state. Okay.
Yeah.
And Shapiro won by a mile in 2022.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
In Maryland, we helped to elect 4th Black woman to the U.S. Senate in American history. All right. Angela also Brooks.
First one to represent the state.
Yep. We helped to elect what's her name? Marcy or Darcy McLean in the Maryland 6th congressional district. It's not over yet. But
Oh, that's one that they're still counting?
Yeah, it's still counting.
Oh man.
That's where we were. That's the state that's the House congressional district we were knocking doors in. I'm looking this up now. It's
Yeah, that's where there's overlap. Yep.
Yeah, it's April McLean Delaney, and she's up by 9,000 votes right now with 89% of the vote in. All right.
Wow. Okay. 9,000 is a is a larger margin than many other races that we're talking about that we're tracking right now.
Yep. Okay, back to the map. We'll go to North Carolina. Yep, go to North Carolina.
North Carolina. That's where that was one of the biggest states for winning.
Yep.
This race. We got the governorship. We got the was it the Attorney General, Secretary of State?
Lieutenant Governor, Attorney General, and Secretary of State. All right. Yep. And when you actually look at the map in North Carolina, everywhere but Trump, things move towards the Democrats. Okay. Everywhere but Trump, things move pretty well. So North Carolina is actually, in our larger view, in better position than it was coming out of 2022. All right.
That's right, because it had gone the other direction. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That's right.
If we just look at Trump, we're missing that. Okay.
Right.
Same with like Pennsylvania. If you just look at Trump, we're missing the successes and progress we've made there over the last 6 years.
Is North Carolina one of the states where they voted for reproductive rights?
Not in this election.
No. Okay, not that one. Okay, there's another one where
there's a couple. We're coming.
Yeah, there are others where they voted to protect reproductive rights, but then they voted for Trump, which is like, it's such a nuanced.
Well, it actually happens in Montana, Nevada, and Arizona in this election.
There you go. Yeah. In the West. Okay. We'll get there. Let's go Georgia and then Alabama.
So Georgia actually moves left in terms of the metropolitan Atlanta area relative to 2020. But Trump just gets more votes than he did in 2020. He just gets more votes in rural America. The one success story we have this year in Georgia is that the Dems at the state level flipped 2 House seats at the state House level. And
we broke their supermajority, right?
Yeah. Yep.
That's huge.
And one of them was in Northwest Atlanta, in an area that we were working in.
That's exactly where we were. Yeah.
Yep.
Who was the candidate there?
Oh, I looked it up. There were a couple different people we worked for there.
Okay. It's not the young guy, is it?
It might be. Yeah, I think it is actually. Hang on.
Ramaswamy, is that his name?
I think you're thinking about. No, let me see here. State House.
And I gotta admit to the people who are listening to this, I've spent more time on, managing the community and thinking about where we go next than looking at the details of the races. So some of this is catch up for me.
No, his name is Bryce Berry. That's him right there.
Oh, okay.
You can see him, right?
Yeah. Oh, no. I'm looking at your map.
You're getting my map?
So,
okay. So when I flip over to a different part on my screen, it doesn't always show us. I'm still figuring that out. This is Bryce Berry. Okay. He won.
Oh, wow. Okay.
He won in the 56th House district. He defeated the only Republican African-American in the state legislature there. Look at that age over there, pal. Do you see that age? Can you see that age?
Yeah. Geez, look at that.
He was born in 2001.
That's I like how you're like, how is that possible?
That's the age of my son.
how could somebody run? How could they? Anyways, all right, all right.
Okay. And then, of course, Georgia, we've had tremendous victories over the last couple of years. So we got to understand the longer arc. We can't just look at the single moment. How about Alabama? Well, we know what our Alabama story is, man.
Yeah, Shamari figures historic representation for them. Second African American to represent that state in the U.S. Congress, and also the son of a civil rights leader. And that's
Exactly.
just such a huge deal for the people who live in that Montgomery down to Mobile, cleverly drawn district. It like snakes or it's anyways. Yes, they tried very hard to gerrymander that, and that was one of the what, two or three decisions that went our way from the U.S. Supreme Court.
I can think of two because one involved Louisiana, where we didn't do any work there. We're common power,
Yeah,
but where the Dems picked up another seat there too.
right,
Yep.
right. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Big deal in Alabama. And that was like a
Yes.
last minute decision to go and knock doors.
And Celestia Hill, who is one of our staff members and lives in Selma, she ended up spending. We gave her some time on her own time to go spend a bunch of time with the campaign because they needed her. Yep. Uh,
Okay.
Ohio. Now, Ohio, tough one. Trump wins by 13. We lose
Yeah.
Sherrod Brown. But we do know that in Ohio, we have won a couple seats narrowly. Wanda Sykes has won very narrowly in the state. And we know that in 2023, we won an abortion rights initiative,
Yeah.
right? And we knocked down an attempt to make those initiatives tougher to pass. Like,
That's right. Over the summer.
yes.
Yeah.
Um, and so the reality, and here's the interesting news. So as much as it kills us, and that JD Vance is going to become vice president, that means that his seat is going to be up for a special election in 2026. And we could see Sherrod Brown or the next generation rise up in that. Okay, in that moment. So we're going to be back in Ohio trying to win that Senate seat back in
I want to tell you right
2026.
now, it's not going to be Sherrod Brown, man. Okay.
Yep, that's fine. I mean,
Anywhere,
whatever.
anywhere we go from here is going to be new. It'll be newer than what it has been. That in Ohio, we knocked on 9,000 doors out there. So that is that, we were a part of whatever margin is there. I also want to say that the dots do not represent where we worked. I just gotta point that out
It's
because
killing you, I know.
The Georgia circle is not on Alabama at all or on Atlanta at all.
It's pretty close, actually.
Okay, you'd have to put it right on the GA. Anyways, the one in Michigan is completely off, and the one in Wisconsin is way off. So I don't want to talk about Texas. Anyways, Michigan, let's go next.
Michigan, well, Elizabeth Slotkin, who we've been supporting since 2018, is now a
Yeah.
U.S. Senator. And also the Dems flipped a seat and then held another one on the state Supreme Court so that they now
Yeah.
have a 5-2 majority. All right.
Yeah, and that's a big deal because the governor and the state ledge there.
So, the reality is that that's a really remarkable outcome in a state that Trump's going to win by about 140,000 votes. All right. Yep.
Yeah, and again, it's another one of those where it speaks to the nuance of how people voted. Like there are people zigzagging the ballot here in a bunch of these states, North Carolina, Michigan, Wisconsin. We knocked on 20,000 doors in
Yeah, I
Michigan,
was just
dude.
going to ask you 20,000. Let's take a look over here.
20,000 doors in Michigan, man.
Let's go over here and look at what the
That is a massive amount of doors.
let's get here. Let's go to the general. You want to go over here to Michigan? We'll go to the Senate and we'll come on down here to Michigan. Oh, you see, it's in the most competitive states quadrant right there, Michigan.
Yeah.
Okay. What's the US election results there? Right now, it's 21,000 votes difference. How many did we know? How
Jeez.
many doors we knock? 20,000, you said?
Right now, this is like preliminary tally, 20,927 doors.
20,927 doors.
Yeah,
Okay, let's see here.
crazy. It's right there in the margin. How much of this is in? 95%. Okay.
Nearly all. Let's see, 2,007, 2,708, 2012 minus
Oh yeah, we're doing some
2,687.
complex math now. This is great. It's riveting
Right here.
podcast material.
That's the number of votes difference right now.
Well, are you showing me something?
Yeah, you can't see it. Dang it. Why is that? I
What
forget
do you?
about. Here we go. That's the number of votes right there.
Okay.
Okay.
That's good, man. That's
How
really
many
good. Well
doors?
done.
How many doors?
Oh, 20,927.
So we
That's
we
good.
knock more doors than there are margin of difference right now in that state.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. That like and Alyssa Slotkin is a
Oh yeah.
phenomenal.
Yeah, some of these are just like some of this is math, right? In the Senate, in the House, but some of these people are gonna redefine what it means to be a senator, to be a Democratic senator. Like I'm thinking about Alyssa Slotkin and like Andy Kim together. Like they're just so different
Yeah,
than
Andy
the
Kim.
current
Yep.
cohort. They are, and he's in the blue state, but well, one, their age. All right. I don't know if you know anything about Gen Xers, David. But actually, no, Alyssa Slotkin might be a millennial. I think she's a millennial.
I'm
I
looking
think
up.
she's a millennial, dude. You're gonna look her up. You're gonna see if you can claim her. I can, right?
Yeah, I would
I'm
see.
gonna claim her. I'm gonna claim when I saw her.
48,
I go,
man. 48.
damn
48.
it.
Yes.
All right. Well, these Gen Xers.
Andy Kim is 42, man. He's
Andy
yours.
Kim is younger?
Yes.
Whoa. That's fine. That's fine. I'll take them.
Okay, sure, sure.
My point is that they're gonna completely change the Senate on our side. Like the way we make it through, the way we negotiate, the way that we what we prioritize. Um, yeah, these are the right kind of leaders for this moment.
Yeah, here's a picture of Andy Kim. And this dude is amazing, right? This guy is just such a quality human being.
He
Him.
really is. Yeah, that he went viral after J6, after January 6th, because he was cleaning up the garbage in the state capitol, like on the floor on his knees
Oh, right, right.
with a garbage bag. Yeah.
And
Yeah. Talk about doing the work.
he ran a total grassroots campaign to because
Hmm.
he had to run against a Menendez who was a Democrat in it, but had been indicted and now convicted. All
Yeah,
right.
he beat the machine. He beat the
Yeah.
machine in New Jersey, which
Yep.
was unheard of. Um, I wish I could have knocked doors for that guy because I like him that much. All right, next state, Wisconsin.
Well, Tammy Baldwin we've been working for her and you've been working for her, and so many of our team has been working for her since ever 2018. And we won there in that state. Now here, I want to show you the math for that state before you tell us how many doors we knocked. Let's go to the so in Michigan, I looked at the math. I had said 140,000 votes that Harris was going to lose by. She's going to lose by about 80,000. 80,000. All right.
Okay.
And Slotkin's going to win right now. She's winning by just over 20,000. So it's
Yeah.
a delta of 100,000 difference right there. So let's say the Harris campaign doesn't invest in Michigan, Slotkin loses.
Yeah.
Okay. If
Yep.
we don't do our work, Slotkin's in tough states, right?
Yep.
Okay, let's go to Wisconsin.
Wait, I'm going to tell you the number first. The number for Wisconsin is we knocked on 21,000 doors, 21,650 doors.
21,650 doors. It's in the most competitive states right here in the middle, 0.9, 0.86. Here's the math.
Okay,
1,672,408.
break out the phone calculator,
Okay,
man.
I'm doing it, man. I'm doing it right now.
I can't. This is good. You could tell we're getting to the end of this run for this podcast because we're at phone calculator
How many doors again?
21,650.
29,116 is the gap. Tammy Baldwin, one of the again great human beings that you'll ever meet, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And she loses. Trump ends up. She's going to win the state by that much. Baldwin is around that much. Trump's going to win the state by about 30,000. So the delta there is about 60,000
Mm,
difference. All right. And Ben Wickler wrote this really great Twitter post yesterday that I'll share when I send out the podcast. He's the chair of the Democratic Party there in Wisconsin, and about how valuable their door knocking was in the larger picture of their work. And he said, we are not where we were in 2016. We are so much farther along.
yeah. Yeah. I read that and the narrative about what won and what lost and what mattered right now is being written, and it's like it's people are swinging wildly. So I understand why he wrote that. He wrote that because he's like the door knocking is not worthless. It is an important part of how we close this margin, and it's an important part of why Wisconsin is outperforming other states.
Yep. Okay, Texas. Michelle Vallejo, who we worked for in the Rio Grande Valley, she did not win.
No, but Vicente Gonzalez did.
Gonzalez did win. Yep.
He kept the seat.
Yep, he sure did. So do you have numbers let me see here how close that was, because that's pretty close in Texas.
Yeah, and that's one where because sometimes we especially for these house races we'll work in one district or another. But we were with him, I think the entire time. Or each trip we knocked on doors with him, and I think we did it's like 5,500 doors in Texas. So it's one of our smaller teams. But what was his margin here?
He's winning by about 5,000. Yeah, it's winning by
Wow.
about 5,000. Yep.
Okay.
Vicente Gonzalez in the Texas 34th. And Allred, gets more votes than Beto got in 2018, but Cruz got pulled along by Trump. And
Yeah.
so the reality is that Allred actually ran a campaign that's not bad at all, and positions us for the beyond Trump era. All right.
Possibly. It is Texas, man. Oh man.
Okay, Arizona. Well, obviously Trump's going to win Arizona. He's going to sweep all 7 of the battleground states. He's going to
Hmm.
win Arizona. But an abortion rights initiative passed that codifies abortion, puts abortion access into the state constitution.
Hmm.
Right now in the 6th congressional district where we were knocking doors, it's neck and neck for Kirsten Engel and Juan Ciscomani. And we're ballot curing for that. It's so
Yes.
close.
Yeah, and the deadline for that is tomorrow. So another shout out to get to work on that. If you're listening to this, that state we need to ballot cure. We need to do phone banking for that, and it's some of the easiest phone banking you can do because people want their vote counted and they think their vote's been counted. So you get to call them and tell them it hasn't, and tell them how to get it, how to make it right.
Where you have a number for how many doors we knocked in Arizona. Ruben Gallego right now is beating Kari Lake in the state for the Senate seat by about 32,000 votes. It's going to keep shrinking because votes are coming in, and the way they're coming in for Maricopa, which has a slight Republican lean this
Yeah.
election. So it's going to end up being somewhere in the 5 to 10,000 vote range. All right, for Gallego over time. How many doors did we knock in that state?
Yeah, this is our biggest state where we knocked on the most doors. We knocked on 47,000 doors,
Wow.
47,758 doors in this state. So, I mean, this is the one where if we hadn't decided to go to Arizona, I think you get a different result in that state.
I think Gallego loses, man. I think Gallego loses. Yep. And it's possible Kirsten Engel, who has a chance here, doesn't even have a chance
Yeah.
otherwise. or
Yeah.
Amish Shah, Amish Shah is going to lose by 5 or 6 to Dave Schweikert in this congressional
Oh man.
sixth, but he's close. Then he was in the ballpark, and an abortion rights initiative passed, as we said, in that state.
Hmm.
Nevada, Jackie Rosen is going to win. Let's go see it because it's very close there.
Yeah.
She's going to win in that state.
That's one that we thought we were gonna have to ballot cure for, but it's looking all right.
And everybody, in case as you're listening, if you're like, boy, they really seem to be just kind of be going through every single state. That's on me. Okay, that was what I wanted to do because I actually want this for my own understanding of
Yeah.
the work we've done. All right. So here's Trump. Trump is currently winning with 95% voted. He's currently winning by about 40,000 votes, 45,000 votes. In the Senate race, Jackie Rosen is winning by 21,000 votes in Nevada. All right. And in the House races in the Las Vegas area where we were doing work, Susie Lee right here is winning by 11,000 votes. And Dina Titus is winning here by 24,000 votes.
Hmm.
And Stephen Horsford, who's the head of the Congressional Black Caucus,
Yeah.
is winning here by 27,000 votes. And as somebody pointed out on our Zoom the other night, the state legislative assembly leader, who we also work
Sandra
for,
Howdiggy, yeah.
she won as well.
Yeah. And we've worked for her before. We've got a pretty good relationship with her. Yeah, so we did 11,000 doors in Nevada. So a good contribution to all of these races.
Yep. And this is the language.
And we were there in the primary too. There are some people like in the state ledge who would not have made it through their primaries had we not shown up.
Yeah. And this right here, I'm just question 2 was about no, actually, wait a second here. Oh, I'm going to skip that for a second. Oh no, yeah, I want to go here. Show all. They removed a slavery. Hang on a second. They removed the slavery exception. In the 13th Amendment.
That's crazy.
In the 13th Amendment, there is a phrase which says that slavery can be continued in the United States as a condition as a punishment for a crime.
Right.
And every state that ratified the 13th Amendment since then has just adopted that language. This is a state where they just wiped it out at the state level, though. That's really interesting.
Wow.
This amendment would ban the use of involuntary servitude as a punishment for a crime. In 2024, Nevada said,
I didn't even know that was on there.
I
That's
know.
amazing to see that. All right.
And then here's the right
Wow.
to abortion into the
Yeah. Yeah, dude, it's so crazy to see these things win by that much and then to have people be like, but I want to vote for Donald Trump. I mean, that's like, whoa, man. It really like all these I mean, I don't want to get into this right now, but this is like this is like I put a pin in this for later. People did not vote for him because of all the like they did not align with all of his values.
Fuck no. No.
They didn't. We can't be like all these people are racist and misogynist and they're all, this is proof right here. They voted to end, not allow slavery, specifically in their state constitution. They protected women's rights. They did all these things that spoke to values that we align with, and they just needed to have better lives for themselves financially. So I just, man, we cannot paint people with this broad brush and condemn them.
I agree. That's going to be a point we're going to keep hammering. We will not enter a conversation by assuming something.
Right. Okay.
Okay, Montana. Now we're sad. John Tester lost. But he ran 13 points ahead of Harris in the state. It's amazing. All right. And it turns out that the Dems actually in the state picked up 2 state Senate seats and 9 House seats. The Dems did. All right.
Really?
And
Holy cow.
they flipped a state Supreme Court race and they enshrined abortion access into the Constitution. All right.
Yeah, that's crazy. I didn't know that about their state ledge. Um, so we did 2,500 doors in Montana, and I just want to say that 2,500 doors in Montana is like 10,000 doors in any other state. Okay. 2,500 doors in Montana is you're driving, you're like, it's from like farm to farm, you know? And so your one house, and then your next house is down, single lane street, up up a driveway that's half a mile, and then you knock on a door, and or you're at a gate at a fence or something, and the person who greets you has a gun on their hip, and you got to talk to them about voting for John Tester and the state ledge candidate. So those are the toughest doors in America right there for us.
Yeah, and we made 2 trips there, right? And then we got also moved by the state party. Like, hey, glad you're here, but we want you to work an hour and a half south of here.
Yeah.
Okay, so uh, yeah.
Yeah,
So,
it
but
happened in a few states where we got moved. But yeah,
they broke the super majorities in both of the state Senate and the state House. All right.
yeah, huge deal.
California, we worked in a couple of House races, right? Or three, I think, maybe 4.
I think it was 4. We did 2 trips and we split each of the trips.
Um, I know that one of the candidates we were for, Dave Min, in the California 45th U.S. House, has now just taken the lead because California takes forever to count their ballots, and so there's a lot of ballots still to come, but he has just taken the lead, and the trend is working in his favor
Mm,
in Orange County. That's Katie Porter's former seat. So he's in the lead. Derek Tran, who we also worked for, is behind Michelle Steele, but the trend is in his favor. And so
okay.
he's coming
Okay.
back. He's got a little bit to go, but the trend is in his favor. Um,
Okay.
Adam Gray, who we worked for in the Central Valley,
Hmm.
he's behind, but he's very close with a lot of ballots to go. And then did we work for Rudy Salas? I can't remember who the
Yeah.
other. I think Salas is not going to win. I'm not
Okay.
positive. Let's see.
Okay. And
Uh,
these are all so on this is another call to action piece that we're not going to light up until later. California's ballot curing happens. Their deadline is pretty far out here from the rest of them. So we're focusing on the states where the ballot curing deadlines end soon, like Arizona on Sunday. And then we're gonna push everybody over to California after that.
yep. Uh, then Oregon, we worked in the Oregon 5th, and this is the flip district
Janelle Bynum.
where
Yeah.
Bynum won. Yes.
Huge
South of
deal.
Portland.
First black woman to represent Oregon. First black person?
I'm going to say person. Yep.
I think it's first black person to represent Oregon, a state that used to that had in their state constitution that black people couldn't live there.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
which is why it's so white there. So this is a huge deal for the people who live in Oregon. That's yeah, that's massive. Okay, we're going home here. Washington State.
Washington State is the only state in the country that has not moved towards Trump from 2020. It's the only one out of 50. All right. But it's narrowly not moved towards Trump. And we've got a lot of ballots still to go. So not sure if it doesn't. Um, so we're interesting in that for those of you that live in the state of Washington. Most important, of course, is the congressional seat that we won. Marie Gluesenkamp Perez has held her
Yeah,
seat.
yeah. What's that margin?
Yeah, let's take a look.
Um, so our folks were down there every weekend for the last few weekends, and this is one of those things where, and we haven't talked about this the entire podcast, but the value of our people to the morale of some of these places where other people are not showing up is it's a big deal. And we were there when others were not. Like we were there when she would address you know, she would address a weekend of action and it was just common power volunteers. And those morale pieces they boost staff, they boost the candidate, feeling like someone's got your back is such a big deal politically. And what's the margin there? What is this? Oh yeah.
15,000,
Wow.
which is she only won by 2,600 in 2022. All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, and this is another like, Washington State bucking the national trend thing. She's got a bigger margin this time. Didn't she run against him last time?
Yeah, they ran against each other last time. Yep, he ran again against her. He's a MAGA candidate, and this is despite the arson bombing of a really blue area ballot drop box. I think losing Camp Perez is about to get a lot of national attention. All right,
Hmm.
because she and Jared Golden, who won in the main second narrowly by half a percentage point, are these two folks who have been more moderate than many Democrats have been happy with. All
Yeah.
right. They've been more moderate on gun rights,
Hmm.
on uh, student loans. Neither one of them supported the canceling of student loans. All right.
Mm.
They're interesting in this because they're working class. They're folks that like just, they're really dialed into the sense of quote unquote fairness that many working class folks have. And I think Perez and Golden, as these two folks who are really moderate Democrats and winning in what are mostly Republican districts,
Hmm.
um, are going to get a good chunk of attention as the Democrats attempt to figure out where they go. All
Well,
right.
I mean, I think if you add in, Alyssa Slotkin to that in the
Yeah.
Senate, I just think that there's going to be a different view of what success looks like for the Democratic Party,
Yeah.
and they're gonna pull folks to a I wouldn't necessarily call it a more moderate position because I don't think it's that simple. But I think it's a new set of beliefs that takes into account where America is today.
Can you see what I'm showing you right now?
Yeah.
This is Washington State, and these are by counties. And this is the presidential results by county. Okay. So the more red is more Trumpy. This is the third congressional district where Glusenkamp Perez just
Mhm.
won. All right. She's got Vancouver too, but she's got all of this.
Yeah.
That's where she just won. That's where Trump wins handily, and she's going to win. Um,
Yeah. To that back to that point, in the same way that people who decided this election crossed zigzag their ballots, I think that the new way forward is understanding, and I wouldn't say like flat out accepting, but I think understanding why folks did that.
uh-huh.
And these people who made it through get that better than the rest of the party does. Um, and I would say that like political experts do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah. So the gist of this podcast today is wins. All this is not a complete compilation, but a riff through a bunch of the wins that we were part of. Do you have numbers on how many doors we knocked for losing Camp Perez?
I don't. I don't. I know that we did. I mean, I think it's probably like 5,000. We did 7,000 total for the state,
Okay.
but some of that includes Yakima. But the lion's share of that was definitely for Glusenkamp Perez. MGP is she's being referred to now.
Exactly. Uh, so we got a couple more days of these podcasts. This coming week is a lecture by Hassan Jeffries. Um, and we're going to do some more stuff about common power and the system and the value of us going forward. But this idea that we actually are more successful, and we're actually fighting the backlash pretty well, is a truth that we have to imbibe. We have to believe this. Otherwise, we live in the fallacy of like, well, it didn't make a difference. No, it made such a difference that we're holding at least 4 US Senate seats. That's how
Yeah,
much of a difference it made.
that's right. And we're gonna talk about more of the how. Can you make me a co-host here? I want to show you something. We're gonna talk about more of the how here in the future.
No bouncing things, right?
Huh?
You're not going to make anything bounce, or you're going to show me a map that
Oh, why? Because you don't like bouncy things?
just saying.
We're gonna talk more about about how we got to where we got to with the system that we built. I think that that conversation though is going to evolve into how we get through these next few years using this same system.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay. I'm going to tee. I got a question for you after you show us whatever as a closer. I got a question
no,
for you.
oh, the question is the closer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, no, go ahead. Mine's gonna take us off track. Go ahead.
No, it's not, man. Go ahead.
It totally is.
Oh, it
It's
is.
about your bouncing dots. Go
Okay.
ahead.
Okay. Um, I just want to hear it. Like, I want you to, I want to have you put some words to the difference you think between 2016 and the results coming out of that, and where we were as a country and democracy was, and where we are now coming out of 2024. Like, I think I just want to have you, I want to have you put some words to the difference in
Sure.
your mind between those two.
So I guess on two fronts. I'm gonna go the voters. I'm gonna go the voters and then the the like organizing system. So I think that this past decade or so, since 2016, I think that we have the most educated and engaged electorate that we've had in generations.
Hmm.
I understand people didn't show up to vote, um, but they didn't show up because of informed voting decisions that they made, mostly. Um, I think that more people understand what voting is, why they should vote, why they shouldn't vote. They understand the nuance more now than ever before. That zigzag across the ballot where you say, like, these are
Mm-hmm.
my values, but I
Abortion
don't.
rights here, but Trump
Yeah.
here, right? Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm going to appear like I'm going to vote economics. This is a more intelligent and nuanced voting population that is kind of is analyzing their ballot and their vote more than ever. And I think that's a good thing for us as a country. That's a really, really, really good thing because it means that they're engaged enough to be turned. And this is like what we fight for in Common Power is we want everyone to have a voice and then for the parties to compete on merit. And now we understand more about what that competition is than we did before as folks who do the work. On the organizing side, go ahead. You got
Well, I
something on
just was
that?
gonna say there's the well educated folks, and then there is the choosing to not be informed folks that have made choices though of like, I am going to just not pay attention to news, and you're going to have to come find me. This is what scholars call the news finds them kind of experience. Okay, like
Yeah.
we have to go find them, and Trump understood how to find them. He has always
Right.
understood how to find them.
Yeah, I don't, these are not people who are like voting isn't important. I think what they rejected were classic forms of media.
Okay.
They
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
rejected experts, they rejected establishment, but it was intentional rejection. It
Yeah.
wasn't it wasn't like I'm aloof and
Yeah.
I don't see it, I don't know about it, and then I'm gonna come back to it, on November 4th. It was forget everything that you're saying over here. I don't want to be a part of that. I've got my thing that helps me see the world.
Yeah.
And I'm going to vote, but I'm going to vote through this lens and not the other ones that you try to feed me.
Yeah, I totally get that. Like Joe Rogan, right?
Right.
Joe Rogan has Donald Trump's interview for Joe Rogan has
40 million,
47 million people have viewed
47
it,
million views. Yeah.
right?
Which is more than most news programs on a given night, right?
Yeah, oh, way more, way more.
So so yeah, they're like I read so that's what I think about the voting
Sure.
population. I think that we can, now that we understand the playing field more, we can compete there. And that's all we're asking for on that. On the organizing side, um, we're ready. More of us are ready. Common Power is ready for sure, but more of us are ready to mobilize people to react to what he's going to do. Some people were already gaming out what happens in a Trump administration, and they're ready for that. I mean, we were just talking about how I hope the people in DC are, downloading all the information about the history of slavery in this country, and we're protecting all the things that he's going to delete. I hope that there are kind of rogue agents out there who are going to pull that stuff away from the places where he could completely destroy it. And if we're thinking about it, they are too. So I think that we're more ready for Trump than we were before. Common Power specifically has built a system that is um, strong enough and nimble enough and focused on the things that keep us going in the worst times, that we actually don't have to do a lot of pivoting because we're prepared for this by nature of what we've focused on. Not so much, and I know we've talked about doors today, but not so much on the number of doors. This podcast is an anomaly in the broader CP system because we're focusing on doors.
Well, we're trying to close the full story on
Yeah,
this year in this election.
sure.
So we wanted to give everybody a sense of these wins, and we're going to be producing an impact report like we do every time
Yep.
late in the year, and that's going to come out to everybody in the next couple weeks. All right.
Right.
So
Right.
we need to give you this kind of information, but the point that you're making here is that doors and elections are massively important, and they are part of a larger democracy system that we're in.
Yeah, I think back in 2016 we would only focus on the numbers, maybe like the broader we. And now we're more focused on what is the way for us to keep pumping those out? What is the way for us to participate in this over and over again? What's the way we keep our community engaged, our door knockers engaged, our volunteers ready to work, and new people coming into the pipeline, because we're going to need more folks. And
Yeah.
that's what we do really well.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. I see this as like democracy might actually be winning. Okay. And I think that we need to that's what we're attempting to think through and talk to all of you, everybody, CP Nation, about, is that we got to look beyond just the outcome of the presidential campaign. Right. All right,
Yeah.
man. What are you going to do to make fun of my stuff here at the end?
I just I don't know if I'm gonna make fun of it. I'm just gonna this is I get to share screen on my iPad, which is always this fraud thing. But I just want to show this other this other map just to let everyone know, because I think some people who maybe only see the the podcast on YouTube and your content you send out think that the height of our graphical power is your PowerPoint. And I just want to show, look at this. We could have used this.
That's I have to say that's pretty nice. Yep. I have to say that's pretty nice. Yes, it doesn't have the bouncing dots, but it's pretty good. All right.
All right.
All right.
This is good, man. Thanks for taking us down this path. Some people, you're right. Some people are going to be like, man, they're going through all these states. We probably lost. I want to see the YouTube stats on this, because we probably lose we're down to 10% of our viewers now who started watching the video. But one of the things that you're going to get with us is, sometimes we've got this really polished, succinct thing that we're going to deliver, and other times you're going to see us work with each other. And that's what this was. This is like hey man, let's go through this and start to understand our wins, but we're doing it live in front of our community. And that's just That's how real we are. We're real like that.
I just kind of like think about Angela also Brooks and what she means in the larger arc of American history. Okay.
Mm,
And it would be incredibly short-sighted for us to not understand that her election, Lissa Slotkin's election, Tammy
hmm
Baldwin's retention, Ruben Gallego, the first Latino senator in Arizona history, Jackie Rosen, the
hmm
only medical doctor in the US Senate, female medical doctor in the US Senate. Like for us to not understand how what that
Janelle
means.
Bynum, Jamari
Yeah,
Figures. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
right, right. That would be, you know what that would be? That would be classic
Mm.
nonprofit, top down, not understanding the way in which change actually happens.
Yeah, that would be that would be the thought process of people who helped us to lose this election. It's that view, like that like only the macro matters.
Yeah,
It's not understanding like the lived experiences of the people that are in these local spaces whose lives are going to be completely changed by somebody who's going to represent them.
Marie Glusenkamp Perez, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Like there are folks now who've got a shot in some of these places and they wouldn't have without this representation. There are also people who would lose hope completely in our system were it not for these wins. And so the bench that we're going to have in 4 years is going to come from people whose view of America was kept afloat by some of these people who got elected.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, man. Have a good day. We'll see you.
See you tomorrow.
Sure enough.
All right.
See you, everybody.